for their dirt.
Oh, wow.
And us getting out of here is how they paying for their dirt.
Mm. Is there somebody behind the scenes that's making sure this happens? Like, is there really a such thing as the Galactic Federation that's helping to make sure these people pay for
The,
their
the Galactic
um,
Federation ain't making them do nothing. The Earth Alliance is.
Oh,
The
okay.
Galactic Federation can't do nothing without giving the Earth Alliance a chance to clean it up first. That's why it's been taking so long.
Mm.
Because all of the special ops around the planet been being deployed to underground tunnels, underground bunkers, to castles, to underground cities, and they fighting wars in whole cities underground. We don't see this stuff up here,
Mm. Mm.
right? So they use the cover of the war in Ukraine, the war in the Middle East,
Mm.
in order to give us a war to look at, because the war expenditure is not going to match if there's not an active war somewhere.
Okay.
So the military, like it's a hole in the Pentagon's pocket. They did failed their seventh consecutive audit. This
Mm.
one they missing over 500 and some $billion. Where the money at,
Yeah, where is it?
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then so we know where it's at. They can't spend a dime and it ain't tracked.
Mm-hmm.
So they know where it went. If they say it went to Black Ops, that meant they went to something that they wanted to keep secret from the people.
Right. Mm. Chief, you know how they say that in order for one kingdom to rise up, another one has to fail?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on President Trump? Do you believe he will eventually step down so that the chiefs on the land will stand up? Or is he a transitional president?
He's 100% a transitional president.
Okay.
He was hand selected by the military and the
Okay.
tribes because of his activism in the casino effort.
Makes sense.
Right? He knew that the people that they trying to pass off as us ain't us.
He said it, didn't he?
Yeah, they don't look like Indians to me. And they don't look like Indians to Indians. And you might say with all of your great wisdom that they look like Indians to you, sir, but they don't look like Indians to me. In all due respect, and they don't look like Indians to Indians.
Mm-hmm. So with him
And
being, go ahead. Go ahead.
then it's also the prophecy of the man in the red hat from back in 1973.
You are here. I'm glad that you, and even you are here too. So, without any further delay, let's get to it. Let's get to it. let's talk. Let's talk about what's going on and what has taken place even in the last 7 days that we all need to be aware
Hold on 1 second, Dr. I'm having issues with you.
of. Okay. Oops.
I had another app just start playing on its own.
Oh, okay. There you are. There you are. There you
Yeah, so it has been a lot going on. Um, I was telling people that Kamala job was to fail miserably as the fall of the whore of Babylon, right?
okay.
the purple and the pearls for the inauguration was the signal and showed you where you was at in the book of Revelations.
Now, what inauguration are we talking about? The one that was Biden's inauguration, or
Yeah.
what? Okay, so
Okay, now when she came in, we forgot that Trump was standing in front of the church with the upside down Bible. And we
okay,
forgot about Nancy Pelosi tearing up the minutes in the Senate in front of the camera,
I remember that. I remember that.
right? Those are two different contracts being closed out on the same day.
Okay,
One is the biblical contract for the blood oaths, and the other one was the fraudulent contracts for the corporation to govern the people. Now,
and
what led to that was the January 6th thing.
hmm
Remember when the dude took the land flag, the one with no fringes. He sat at Pelosi's desk, right? And he was behind the Admiralty flag. That was the transfer of jurisdiction. So when you go back and listen to who sent him, you find out he was working with a shaman from the land, but he was also working with military top brass, right? We forget about that. Okay, so that was reclaiming the republic from the democratic corporation, right? Democracy is told to us in a fictitious form.
Mm-hmm.
When you read all communist documents about the adding of communism into a governmental system, they all refer to it as democracy,
Mm.
right? So remember, Noble Drew Ali said the elephant is our friend, right? He also said, I left a watchdog for the people, and the watchdog is the elephant. And then the Hopi prophecy talked about the man in the red hat, right? That's recorded from back in 74, before Trump was even considered for the presidential campaigns, right? So the MAGA hat, the red hat, went from a white hat to a red hat to a black and gold hat. Colors is flipping the different organizational redemptions that's being made through the MAGA process. So you got tribal operations going on in the midst of standard government operating procedures.
Mm-hmm.
So you watching the tribes do something, allowing the government to artificially run, and the tribes is piggybacking on that artificial narrative in order to get clues across the land in everybody's face behind their back. Only the ones who know gonna know what the codes are,
Okay.
right? So the Schumann resonant go crazy when on election day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's a massive response from a solar flare.
Now, it's the solar flare. People are talking about, some people talk about the solar flare as it would be something to be feared or to stay away from. And then I hear others saying, it's a good thing and it's only going to, if it has a negative effect, it's only on those that shouldn't be here
It's
on the
gonna turn
planet.
some people's clocks off. Their time is up.
You mean they tick us, like,
Yeah.
right?
They life script has ran its course when that voltage go through. That's what they call the great solar flash. They're looking for it to happen any day now. Then when
So we
that
haven't had it
happened,
yet.
right. So when that happened, it's supposed to have a massive effect on the Schumann resonance because the Earth and the Sun is communicating. In order for Earth to get rid of the parasites, the UV rays have to be calibrated to the frequency required to get rid of the parasites.
And the
Earth read
parasites
the
are.
human parasites by mitochondrial resonance. The mitochondrial is the powerhouse of the cell, and from the source of the power comes the source of the remedy. So it has to be able to communicate what the DNA say back to the source,
Okay.
right? So then the the mitochondrial is represented in the soil of the earth. This how you could tell a better DNA match would be the DNA to the soil for us than it would DNA to a tribe.
Okay.
The people from the land have a DNA sequence that's characteristic of the soil of the land. They already know this, though. This is common scientific information that they just don't talk about. It's like they don't push it to the forefront because they don't want you to know they can test the land to see if you from it, matching it to your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Have
That's
they
what they
been doing
used to.
any of that? Have they been doing any of that anyway? All along when they've taken a little sample of blood from the babies and
They always, anytime they taking blood, they experimenting on it and investigating the developments in the genome. That's why they
so
take so much to run the tests that require a drop.
and then all of these centers around that are paying drug addicts and everybody else to get their to donate blood. The purpose is probably more nefarious than we think.
Yeah, well, the vampires got to use the blood banks in order to stay stocked up with enough human blood to survive.
Never thought of it that way.
That's why they call them blood banks.
Because you can make a deposit, you can make a withdrawal.
Right. And the ones can go to the cash bank and then deliver to the blood bank and exchange a currency for the value in blood.
Really?
Yeah, why you think they pay you for blood? Then they also can use the cover story of emergency hospital usage to
Yeah.
justify the massive amounts of blood that they collect. It ain't that many people getting transfusions on the planet. So they taking plasma, separating cells. They running the red blood cells through hemoglobin testing to determine the processing ratio of iron to oxygen in the blood that's causing the rust factor. Because eventually the iron is going to be replaced back with the magnesium, and it's going to switch the blood ratio in the hemoglobin. It's going to look more like chlorophyll, and it's going to change and alter the color of the skin. That's all part of the ancient record. That's why they paint all those deities as green, right? Because when the solar flare go, it changes the chemistry of the genome. This is why we're not 12 strand no more. It's been upgraded to now the same amount of information that required 12 strands only require 2. But you don't have to be 150 feet tall no more either. When you
Let's
had
go back
12,
to that. Let's go back to that for a minute. Just let's park there just for a minute about so when they start to speculate who built what and whether or not it was there was ET help assistance or whether or not there were giants that actually facilitated a lot was done. This when you say that are you talking about our people and we've come down just like computers have come down from room size to you can hold it in your hand.
right, that's called upgrades. That's called
Okay.
upgrades.
All right.
Now, what in the Darwinian evolutionary theory, they got what's called missing links.
Okay.
This is because of laboratory intervention in the genome. When you realize
So
that we've been doing genetic engineering since the beginning of humanity, and we was creating avatars to operate in this system of 3D operational matrix.
now,
Somebody got smart and figured out that if they gave us amnesia in the matrix, that they can recycle the matrix over and over and nobody will ever jump through the infinity loop.
do you feel that when people have these so-called near-death experiences and they come back and they say, I saw this, I saw that, it was beautiful, I made a decision that I need to come back, because I wanted to see my child grow up without whatever reason. Is that a just an illusionary process step in between leaving out of the body and making a decision to, like you said, when you said they don't go through the infinity loop, but they loop back into the third dimensional reality? Or is that what's happening? Or are they really in a place of decision where they could go through, come back as someone else, or make a decision to go on to a higher
Okay,
dimension? Is there no choice at that point?
look, it's like this. They got a book of life. If they start falling off the path in a book of life, they have what's called a emotionally catalyzing event of massive proportions that's written in a book of life in order to snap them out of the 3D slumber and reconnect their spiritual self to their higher consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at their life that was in shambles most of the time before the catalyzing event, and then you look at the gratitude and the revelation and the different way they live their life after the catalyzing event. So in everybody's life, whether it's when your parents got to go, when you lose a child, those are called emotionally catalyzing events. There's nothing in this reality that you didn't know you was going to experience before you came. That's the beauty of the trick of the amnesia, to see if you can be pure enough in heart to see your way through the darkness of illusion.
And it's funny that they call it amnesia because I've surmised that the time between the assignment of what one is going to do, the in life and the birth, they the child generally at average spends 9 months in the womb in a liquid fluid called amniotic fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Amniotic fluid, I said, lulls the being of the soul into a forgetfulness state of amnesia, and needs to the journey begins when the lights or whatever, when the child comes through the waters and is here to remember the assignment that they forgot in the amniotic fluid, the amniotic fluid. But I know I'm not saying it right. It's called
Ambionic fluid.
whatever it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
amniotic. It's amniotic because it's amniocentesis. So it's amniotic fluid. But I kind of surmise that time is the wash to wash the memory sort of away in a sense that it becomes a quest. The
Well,
life becomes a quest.
they discovered something in psychology that causes people to forget former lives, and it's called light shock therapy. It's where a bright light is shined in your face and it give you the effect of Men in Black with the flasher.
Mm-hmm.
If they do it to a newborn, that's why all of the hospital delivery room got the baby under them bright ass lights.
Mm-hmm.
It's to shock the optic nerve, which causes a amnesia in the brain for a period of time. They never let the mother and the child properly pair bond because her colostrum will begin to repair the amnesia if she run the cycle through before the placenta is released. The chemicals from her colostrum going through the umbilical cord reactivates the baby's entire psyche. And then it's discovered that, oh, he's been flashed. Let me fix his optic nerve. And the mother's colostrum is that's his immune system. And they replaced it with vaccines and replaced the mother's milk with Similac and Enfamil. It's all part of keeping us in a stupor.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot more push towards, babies being breastfed, but, and that's not necessarily coming from the hospital side, but they actually do have people who teach them how to nurse their babies and so forth. So I guess they figure a small amount. They can't do it to everybody, because we don't know what's in that stuff, the Similac and the Enfamil and all of that, whatever else is out there these days. We don't know what, it's designed to do, what chemicals are in it and what it does to the newborn or the child in its developmental stages. And that's why I'm grateful for all of the doulas out there, and the ones that not only follow the mother through the birth process, but even help them with the beginning months and stages of
Yeah,
the
that's
child.
where the whole concept of a nanny came from. Because the doula was the caretaker of all of the children. She overseen their birth. They would come visit and stay with her as the nanny, as the secondary mother for a mama can go do other stuff like work the fields.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you had the big mamas, you had the nanas, which was the aunties that was the big mama to her clan. They all helping the young mothers with the children while they helping with the general labor of maintaining of the family. We lost track of who we was, but some of us back to reinform everybody of where we came from so that we can remember who we are.
Right.
Once
Right.
we remember who we are, they can't run that BS on us no more. And now the youngsters got a hold of the reality of it and the receipts, and they coming up with more receipts showing proving the point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So somehow they're overcoming, or have overcome the effects of the bright light. Because I'm sure many of them, were born in those regular those settings that we now know are not that are detrimental to
Well, a
empower.
lot of a lot of the young mothers now is getting advice from midwives and from doulas that they wasn't get 25 years ago.
Hmm. Right.
And then a lot of them want to do water births and home births now. You know, so the children is reflecting that because they all, when they go to the playground together, they exchanging information. We don't pay attention to the children on the playground playing because they establishing hierarchy in they age bracket in they size groups, right? They are problem solving that their minds can comprehend, and this is where they come with all of the questions all the time. They come back from the playground with all of the questions. Daddy, why is this like this? Who is God? Where is he at? Right? They was talking about that on the playground with the other children. The conversation is different now.
Yeah, you see the pictures, the little clips, the little shorts, and they're showing the babies, the infants, the newborns, and the looks on their, like they're not even coming back looking like babies. They're coming back looking like old men and old women. I mean, when I say old, grown men and grown women in baby form, and they have these expressions that
Like,
like
oh, I done came back to this BS.
I saw one where they had like a something on it said, "This is the 13th time I've been here, and I'm here. I'm with another poor family." Something was something like that. So, but what you're seeing in the babies is, I mean, I know of some children who both of the I don't know if they got more than two now, but the first two children, I think, were talking before when it was like 3 to 4 months old. They were talking, you know what I mean? And they were in the same bloodline, the same, siblings, but they were talking, and not just goo goo gaga, but able to, to have a little conversation with the parents, and of course is, developed since then. And so you know that, like when you talked about the upgrade, changes are taking place,
Yeah,
evolutionary changes are taking place, and like you said, at the what's been going on forever is the fact that if we go all the way back, and it goes further than this, but if we just go back to the book of Genesis, which is Genesis, you got the first time we generally saw that there was some um, genetic work going on, because you said they were saying, well, let us make man in our image and in our likeness and our image, whatever it is. And so, we read that, but then we were taught that it was one God that did that. But you can't be a us and be one. Us
look,
got to be at least two or
and they
more.
tell you that it's only one God in the Bible, but they tell you in the same Bible that the God of Moab, his name is Kimash.
See, I never even seen that in all the study I've done, and that's actually in the Bible.
It's actually in the Bible.
So it seemed like that if that was the case, it would have been a case of, you got the God of
He's not the only
wisdom,
one mentioned in there either.
the God
But
like that gods were not. It was not the creator God, but it was like an Elohim, one of the Elohim,
mhm,
as opposed to a creator God. And then you have the schizophrenic appearing God who creates, loves, and then says kill everything, and the women and children, rape the women, take the women, kill the men, do, and then you think, is God crazy? And then when you read the other books that the Bible we know now has come from, you get to you're getting a Yahweh versus a Jehovah, or an Inky versus an Enlil. If you get deep in it, so you got one God saying, you and that woman, we done put you together, you on a timetable, you get together, every so many weeks, and you can get it on, and whatever you can do, because we need to create more of you. Then you got the other God stepping in, saying, who they call a snake or serpent, saying, listen, you can do what you want to do with who you want to do it with. You're not bound to this. And matter of fact, you can put some clothes on, and then when this other God shows back, who told you were naked? So you see, it looks like confusion. And then you have the same one God saying, I'm jealous, and you should have no other God before me. So if there's no other God to be before him, that makes no sense right there. But people gloss right over it.
So the god Kimash is mentioned several times. Judges 11:24.
Mm-hmm.
1 Kings 11:7 say King Solomon built a temple